chosen to listen to my presentation. I hope you find it educational as well as entertaining. For those of you that know me, I tend to be a fairly entertaining character. So I've put together, on John's request, a few slides to talk about my experience over the last decade working with the PGA Tour Latinoamérica and all the wonderful golf courses in about 14 different countries and wonderful superintendents. So can you hear me or can you see me? Hello. So everybody heard my introduction. So I'm going to get started, okay, John? Here we go. Where do I do the next slide? Right here. Well, as John mentioned, my name is Mark Johnson. I am the Senior Director of International and TPC Agronomy for the PGA Tour. I thought it might be helpful for everybody to realize who they're listening to. And here I am right here, way down at the bottom. So there are, as you can see, 13 agronomists that work within the Department of Agronomy for the PGA Tour. I have been lucky enough to work with some of the smartest and the best superintendents in the world who call their home golf course in Latin America. You can see my buddy Dennis Ingram over here. He's our Asian connection. He just completed the Olympics in Tokyo, and he's in Korea as we speak, getting ready for their tournament next week. So the 13 agronomists that you saw on the previous page, every year we provide support to 45 PGA Tour events, 21 Champion Tour events, 26 Korn Ferry Tour events. This year, which you're going to see shortly, the PGA Tour Latinoamérica will have 12 events. The Forum Tour was something that just happened in 2021 as a result of the pandemic. And when our Canadian partners and players did not have a place to play in Canada, they formed the Forum Tour, and they had 8 events, of which I provided support to those clubs and those superintendents. And hopefully in 2022, the Canadian Tour or McKenzie Tour will be back on track with another 12 events. Here's what I was referring to, the 2021-22 PGA Tour Latinoamérica schedule. Some of these clubs are TBD, but congratulations to my good friends at Nordelta for hosting the Argentine Open, the 3rd oldest Open championship in the world. Very prestigious event. Congratulations. I'm sure the conditions are going to be fabulous. Sports Francés in Santiago, they're going to have a great event. Another old championship, the Chile Open. Congratulations. I'm sure that it will be in fantastic shape. So you can see the schedule for the remainder of this year And next year, and as mentioned, I have been to most of these clubs several times and am always impressed, always very impressed with the ability of the superintendent and his staff and his resources to produce every bit as good, if not better, than golf course conditionings in the United States for the tournaments on the PGA Tour, Champions Tour, Korn Ferry Tour. So I wanted to put this slide up there. This is our tournament preparation checklist. And I wanted you to see that this is the exact same checklist that we use on the PGA Tour, on the Champions Tour, on the Korn Ferry Tour, on the Latino America Tour. And without a doubt, when it comes to mowing heights of the greens, the collars, the approaches, the tees, the fairways, the practice tee, all this, the green speed, and this page is just the first page of a 10-page document. But without a doubt, the golf courses that I have had the pleasure to work with in Latin America have always been able to meet these goals and expectations of what our players expect to play and what our rules officials want the golf course to play like. And it sounds simple. It sounds like a simple task, but when we go into these next few slides, I think you're going to realize that you guys have a big thing to overcome when it comes to being able to prepare your golf course. Now, I think, John, this presentation of mine is perfect timing. We're coming into the 10th year anniversary of the PGA Tour Latino America. And I think this presentation could not be a better time for me to share my experience over the last decade. But I want to take you back 10 years ago when the PGA Tour decided to merge with the Tour de las Americas, and why? What was the strategy? What was the purpose of the PGA Tour getting involved and forming the Latino America Tour? Well, it was obviously to help promote golf in all the different regions, all the 14, 15 different countries throughout Latino America. It was to highlight the skill of the players that were there, to develop those players, to introduce them. And actually, it was all to develop momentum and excitement leading into golf returning to the Olympics in 2016 in Rio. And as everybody knows, it was a huge success. So the PGA Tour felt that they were going to be able to provide some support to the Tour de las Americas. They were going to be able to share their level of expectation, their standards of operation, and provide that pathway for those players to gain access eventually to the PGA Tour by starting by the top 5 players every year getting their Korn Ferry Tour cards. And the hope and prayer was that a Latino America Tour player who would gain access on the Korn Ferry would then gain access to the PGA Tour. And I'm very happy to report, and it goes without any question, that you have been very successful in that endeavor. We have had multiple players from the Latino America Tour who are now playing on the PGA Tour. And I think that is just tremendous. It's tremendous for the golf courses that you're able to produce, to allow these players to showcase their talent. And I think we're going to be seeing more and more and more. I think this has built a lot of momentum, a lot of excitement. So that's the little history about the PGA Tour Latino America. And right there, the second bullet point, a combination of established championships and new events. So we've got the third oldest open championship in the world, the Argentine Open. We have the Chile Open. We have the North Argentine Open. We have so many key events, very well established championships across the Latin America region that we are joining with and showcasing and seeing the best players, in my opinion, some of the best players in the world. So I wanted to familiarize everybody with where I am located today. Today, if you can see my cursor, I am up in the north part of Florida, Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida, the global home of the PGA Tour. And right across the street here is TPC Sawgrass, home of the Players Championship. And here's Lima, Peru, right down here. And here's all big old South America and Central America and Mexico and the islands, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. It's a big region. I bring that up as a point. I think it's very important that you realize that there are over 15,000 golf courses in the United States. There are only 638 golf courses in Central and South America combined. Mexico counts for another 200 golf courses. Japan counts for another 2,200 golf courses. There's probably just under 39,000 golf courses in 209 countries across the world. There's only 249 countries, so there's 40 countries that don't have golf courses, but almost half, just under half of all the golf courses in the world are in the United States. Now, why is that important? Why is that important? We're going to get into that, Agronomy 101, but before I get into this simplistic ideology of growing good turf grass, I have to give a shout out to my good friends that I've developed over the last decade. Alberto Valenzuela from Colombia, Daniel Tapia from Brazil, Guillermo Busso and Alejandro Canegallo from Argentina, Juan Pablo Velasco from Chile, John Romero from Peru, Julio Diaz from the Dominican Republic. Without these guys, I would not be the support that I am, or I would not be near the agronomist for the tour that I have become. I have learned so much, not only from these gentlemen, but from every superintendent that I have met with in my travels. I've probably visited, I was trying to think the other day, 60 or 70 golf courses that have hosted events on the PGA Tour Latinoamérica. And I have always come away very impressed with their ability to produce similar or better conditions than we see in the United States, but with very limited resources. And we're going to get into some more of that when I start talking about Agronomy 101. I hope that I am speaking clearly enough for everyone to understand, because this is very important to me. When we have 15,000 golf courses in the United States, obviously it's a supply and demand mentality. So there are companies, whether it's equipment, whether it's chemicals or fertilizer or supplies, there's a lot of golf course supply items and equipment and support in this country because there are 15,000 golf courses. Sand suppliers, we're going to get into, seed suppliers, sod producers, everybody in this country, because there's so many golf courses in the United States, we have a plethora of options that we can apply to our golf courses. And I never had an appreciation for that until I started visiting South America, Latin America, and going to a country that may only have 4 or 5 golf courses. And all of their products are for agriculture, for flowers, for wheat, for roses, for lettuce. And the superintendent has to realize whether he's going to put down a product, is that going to burn my turf grass, or is it going to be compatible? And the intelligence level and trial and error these superintendents have done over the years to learn which products to use and which ones not to use to produce desirable playing conditions, it's just unfathomable. My hat's off. You guys deserve a lot more credit than anybody knows. So I have learned so much from not only these gentlemen, but from all the superintendents. And I thank you so much. One reoccurring theme that I see in my travels, whether it's Latin America, the islands, United States, Mexico, Canada, is our ability as golf course superintendents to effectively manage water. We, as a group, are usually not very good at managing water. And I've noticed not only in Latin America, but certainly in the United States, upon my arrival, the golf courses are just overwatered. They're overwatered because we get pressure from our ownership and from our membership that the golf course has to be green, has to be lush and growing and green. And we feel the only way we can do that is to apply water. Water is necessary. Everybody knows that. Water, sun, soil. It's the only three things you need. So how do we effectively manage moisture content? And I'm just going to touch up on the greens. The greens are a very small part of our property, but they're a very important part of our golf courses. The greens are where the majority of the game is played. Probably 2/3 or more of the game is played on the putting surfaces, on the greens. So it's important that we learn how to manage the moisture content in our greens. I have mentioned there a photo of the TDR by Spectrum Technologies, and I have one here, my old friend, my old TDR 300, which Spectrum Technologies doesn't make. They've got a newer, improved version, the 350, which is shown in that photo, which does a lot of other things. I like my old tool here. I can put in the 3-inch soil probe, or I can put in the 1.5-inch soil probe. Okay, depending on where my primary root zone is. If I'm managing Poana greens that haven't had much roots, I may want to be just concerned about the moisture level in that top 1.5 inches. I'm managing bent grass greens, and I've got a really strong cultural program in place, and it's in the shoulder seasons when the bent grass is thriving and growing a lot of roots. I may want to use the 3-inch probe and determine what my moisture content is in that area. They make an 8-inch probe that I want to know if I want to go all the way down to the bottom of my profile and see if the bottom of my greens profile is dry or wet. I can learn that with this. I also have another prop here, and forgive me because I've been eating it, but imagine this is your greens profile, okay? And all these different candies are sand particles. You can see that not all these sand particles butt up next to each other, right? There's cracks and there's crevices all in between those sand particles. And I'm just going to show you, this is probably a 25 mil. This is probably 50 mil. This is a little bitty one right here. That's probably 25 mil. Anyway, your greens are made up with sand and soil of all different particle sizes. There's cracks and crevices in between those particles, in between those sand particles that we refer to as capillary pore space. It's very important that we maintain the integrity of that capillary pore space. And it's also how we measure the moisture content. So imagine this is filled up. This would be the turf. We would put our moisture meter in this area, and we would read the volumetric moisture content of this particular area that we're concerned about, just the top 3 inches. Now, I know the question you want to ask. Well, Mark, what's the ideal moisture content? Every golf course is different. I just know that you have to dry your greens down to a point where you're starting to see drought stress. You take a measurement and you know you don't want to go that low. Some golf courses, it's 30%. I was just in Las Vegas. We got it down to 10% volumetric moisture content before we start to see stress. But a healthier turf happens when they're drier, and you got to find out what that is for your particular course. The other important part of creating the fast and firm mentality is sand, sand, sand. And here is a sand producing pit here at the Olympic golf course. And it's difficult, I understand, for many of you to order specific sands to top dress your golf course with. I get it. I understand. But maybe there's an opportunity to go to your sand supplier, have him run it through the sieves one more time, and have him match closer to what your profile's made of, so we can effectively top dress more routinely and maintain the integrity of that profile, that capillary pore space, consequently improve infiltration, respiration, gas exchange, firmness. Sunlight. Another thing that's very common that I see in Latino America is the trees, the overpopulation of trees, which their members and our greens committees feel obligated to plant so many trees. But just realize, without sunlight, there's no grass. And then what I hopefully most of you use routinely is the accredited laboratories in your particular area. Perhaps, probably it's the universities. But routine soil testing, at least annually on several greens, a core analysis, just so you know what your profile is made of and what you need to do, if you need to do anything. The percent organic matter, that's going to be huge with your moisture retention and your firmness. And the testing, like I said, you make your top dressing sands, send it off to the lab, get it tested, make sure you're not putting too many fines or too many coarse materials and interrupting your profile, the integrity of your profile. And I know I'm pushed for time, so I'm going to try to hurry up. But this is an accredited laboratory in the United States called Turf Soil Diagnostics. This happens to be from where the golf course I just left, TPC Summerlin in Las Vegas, Nevada. And you take a 3-inch PVC pipe, you drill it, you hammer it down all the way to the gravel, to the bottom of your greens. You send it to the lab. He cuts it open. He tells you how much thatch is in there and then what all the particle sizes are from the tiers. So 0 to 6 inches is tier 1 and so forth and so on. And if you have issues with a green or particular green or greens, then with this core analysis, it can provide you clear direction on whether you need to incorporate more coarse sand, if you need to provide more air channels and do more aerification, be it hollow tine or solid tine. But using the accredited laboratories, probably at the universities, and developing those relationships with those plant pathologists and those laboratories that can help make you understand that this is very, very important information. Now, because my position with the Latino America Tour officially is for tournament preparation. However, as many of you know, my philosophy when I come visit your golf course is I want to help you develop a plan that is best for the membership day in and day out. Oh, and by the way, 1 week out of the year, we host this tournament. But if you've got a solid agronomy plan and you're doing all the right things at the right time, your golf course is going to be ready to host any event at any time of any magnitude. So that's what I try to do. That's my number one goal when I visit one of your golf courses, is see where we need to develop a better agronomy plan for the membership. So our golf course is in good condition majority of the year. And when the tournament comes around, there's not a whole lot we have to do. We don't have to jump through a lot of hoops. We don't have to spend a lot of extra money. We don't have to recover, because we've been following the plan all year long. And all we have to do tournament week is get there a little earlier, mow a little more frequently, and come back a little later. And we have a fantastic event. The firm and fast playing conditions is very difficult to achieve in certain parts of the countries during certain times of the year, and very difficult for us to measure. You hear your members, your players walk off the greens and say, well, they sure were soft, or they sure were hard. So we have some tools nowadays that we can measure firmness with, and I want to share the Precision Turf Company firmness meter. So basically what we do is we drop a 1 pound metal ball bearing from exactly 6 feet. We have the ring, put it on our finger. We drop the plumb bob on the bottom of the putting surface. We drop the ball. Yes. Huh, interesting. It says you are screen sharing. You can see my screen. Yes, I am trying to show you something very important. I see. I'm sorry, John, say that one more time. Don't share. So when I need to go back to my presentation, do I have to then share the screen again?
Yeah.
I have to go back and forth. Wow. Sorry, guys. Very, very sorry. Did you see my candy dish? No. Well, that was the greens profile. See my moisture meter? 3-inch probes, 1.5-inch probes. Now you see it. Well, I'm not going to explain it all over again, but this is the micrometer that we measure the firmness of the greens. So we turn it on, we zero it out, place it over the ball mark that we created with the 1-pound ball. Dropped exactly 6 feet with our plumb bob and our chain. And that's how we measure firmness. The shallower that ball mark, the firmer the greens. Does that make sense? I hope so. I apologize. I did not understand that you were not able to see what I was trying to explain. Very, very embarrassed about my inability to do this kind of stuff. So if I want to go back to my presentation, I go to share screen, go here, share. This is, huh? Right there. All right. So you can't see me anymore, but you can see my screen. So I was trying to explain the firm and fast playing conditions, and then this think before you plant. So I reached out to John Slater, who many of you have met. He is the vice president of competitions for the Latino America Tour and very good rules official. I've known John for 20 years and said, John, is there anything you want to ask or want me to tell my good friends from Latino America about tournament preparation and golf course conditions? He said, absolutely. Don't be planting trees in front of bunkers and I can't get around, or don't be planting bushes for yardage markers, or don't be planting landscape beds right next to greens. Now, I realize most of you are growing golf courses for your membership, and your membership wants the golf course to be appealing, both visually and playability. All that John Slater and I ask is that you think about the competition and think about where the balls may land in the proximity of greens, landing areas, of fairways, and just think before you plant. That's all that we really wanted to ask. And then as I'm getting towards the end of my presentation, I've had some wonderful visits. This is certainly probably very recognizable to most of you in the audience. This is the clubhouse at the Jockey Club in Argentina. Dr. McKenzie's one of my all-time favorite architects, mostly because of his philosophies when designing a golf course. He had only two: fun for the amateur yet challenging for the professional. So in Dr. McKenzie's view, bunkers are not fun for an amateur. Thick, tall, rough is not fun for an amateur. So he didn't have either. And to make it challenging for the professional, he put the professional tees in a strategic location to force those professionals to play that particular golf hole with a certain strategy in mind, and being able, forcing that good player to place his golf ball and advance his golf ball by thinking his way around the golf course. So just a wonderful opportunity I've had down there, spending some time at the Jockey Club. And then down the street, I think this is at Nordelta. I try to get my boss to make sure all of our TPC maintenance facilities learn how to build one of these fireplaces so we can have barbecue for lunch every day. But so impressed with everybody down in South America and Latin America in general. They're just very, very good at what they do. Oh, I forgot to put this one in here. These are my good buddies in Santiago. Old golf course. I think it was built about 1895. This is Prince of Wales. Just a wonderful group of guys. That's the maintenance staff. We did it all. We held that tournament. I think this is a long time ago, maybe 2012, 2011, something like that. I learned so much from these guys, from all these guys, just how to do more with less than anybody I've ever seen. And of course, the culmination of in 2016 of all my relationships created over the previous 6 years of traveling around and making friends with all these, see all these 43 volunteers for the 2016 Olympics. These were all from 14 different countries and all based on relationships that I had made with Guillermo and JP and Alberto and Julio, and all these wonderful, wonderful people allowed us to have a gold medal winner, both men and women competition. And it was just, it has been the highlight of my career thus far. And I could not have even thought about doing it without my relationships with the Latino America tour and the golf courses down there. So very much appreciated. And I know I rushed through a lot, and I apologize for you not being able to see my picture, but, and I'm early, but I definitely want to leave it up for some questions, comments. If I can make anything a little more clear, John, the floor is yours now.
Easy for you, but thank you. Thank you for your effort. You make a great job. Thank you very much. So we are open. We are open for questions. If the audience have a question, please. If someone of you wants to talk instead of send a message, please. So, la sala está abierta. Si alguno de ustedes quiere hacer alguna pregunta en vivo y pedir que le aperturen sus micros, lo podemos hacer en este caso especial. O si no, está abierto el chat para que puedan hacer las preguntas. Okay. I have a question for you.
Yes.
So I'm going to talk in English, and after that I'm going to speak in Spanish. You have 10 years working as agronomist of the PGA Tour Latin America. You said that in next year, 2020 to 22, you will have 12 Tour Championship. You are going to come to South America to visit those courses. Ok, Mark, en estos años de experiencia tú conoces varios campos de golf. Para la temporada 2021-2022 vas a tener 12 torneos. ¿Planeas visitar algunos de los campos de Sudamérica?
Yes, John, to answer your question, next year, beginning December of 2021 through June of 2022, the PGA Tour Latino America will have 12 events. And I know I'm traveling with John Slater to Mazatlan and to the other course, TBD in Mexico. I'm going to El Rincon in Bogota, as well as another golf course in Colombia. And right now, that's all that I know that I'm going to visit. But John, please tell the audience that they have my contact information. And when I'm in Colombia or when I'm in Mexico or if I'm in Chile, if they would love for me to stop by, I'd be happy to do it. Or if that can help them in any way, my phone and my email are always open to my friends from Latino America. So I may not get to your course this year, but John Slater wants me to get to all the clubs as soon as I can. I hope that answers your question.